Hi, this is Al Renshaw, Vice President of Education Programs at Quantum. Wanted to take a few minutes today to walk you through and give you a general high-level overview of Quantum's adaptive learning and assessment software. Quantum has software for accounting, and we cover principles of financial and college accounting. And the software is also being used as a review tool for intermediate accounting, where oftentimes students may have not mastered the accounting equation, or it's been a long time since they've had financial accounting coming into that intermediate course. So this is an opportunity for them to get an overview. The software is textbook neutral, meaning you can use it with any textbook. And it's currently being used with over 300 schools across the country, and that's pretty evenly split between community colleges and four-year schools. What's unique about Quantum is we actually got our start through grant funding through the U.S. Department of Education and the National Science Foundation. And so we've grown up being very research-based in everything that we do. And so with Quantum, and this goes to the development of our accounting software, we're very heavily focused on achieving student results. In other words, if we can't save the student time or help them master the material in a better way, we simply don't build it into our software. We also spend a lot of time talking with instructors to find out what students tend to struggle with the most, what concepts give students difficulty. And then, of course, we go out and verify that through a lot of field testing with students before we even do any development. And so when you look at Quantum as you can consider using us, or if you are planning to use us, research shows that Quantum outperforms other learning tools in comparison studies. And again, using that research approach, we've gone out and compared Quantum to homework systems, even the textbook. And time and again, it's been shown that our software can outperform significantly in comparison to some of the traditional learning tools that are available today. Quantum is also rated as the most helpful resource by students. And when we've gone out and talked with students and asked them, of all the materials that you're using, whether that's the tutoring lab, talking with a fellow student, class notes, all the things that are available to them, they consistently rate Quantum as being the most helpful resource. Quantum has also been shown, and again in scientific studies, to improve test scores at least a full letter grade. And where we've seen substantial impact is on that accounting cycle. And that's really critical early in the course, that rather than having students get to that first exam and basically have that train wreck where they realize that they were having difficulty and it's too late, Quantum can be used early on in the course to help students master the accounting cycle and the other topics and basically build a good solid foundation for the remainder of that course, and hopefully we'll achieve good success going forward in that course. Quantum also has been shown to increase student motivation and self-efficacy, and how we do that is we provide step-by-step feedback to the student and basically scaffold them and give them the help that they need. And so over time, students may come into an accounting course and think that they're unable to do well, but over time, with the help of Quantum, their confidence does greatly improve. In fact, we've shown that students that have low motivation, low confidence, will certainly increase to having medium to very high levels of confidence by using our software, because we enable them through feedback to gain confidence over time that they are able to learn accounting. And then finally, we've also shown that by requiring Quantum for the course and having instructors involved in regularly measuring the progress through assessment reports, that student mastery increases, not only individually, but more students will master the material, more students will master more of the material, and they'll be able to do that with less study time thanks to tools like our How Am I Doing report that gives feedback back to the student, and then the instructor is able to measure the results, again, through very detailed assessment reports that aren't available with any other system. But all of our research is out that we've published on the website at quantumtutors.com if you'd like to take a closer look at that. So what does make quantum different? And one of the philosophies that we've strived for from day one is to basically be able to help the student at the time when the instructor is not available to help or answer questions. Or unlike a homework system, which only can tell a student whether their answer is right or wrong, but doesn't give any feedback as to why a student's answer is right or wrong, we actually help that student through individually on their problems, their concepts, so that they can master the material. And mastery is a really important concept because when you talk about doing problems, students can go through the exercise of doing problems but not learn anything. But when you talk about mastery, it changes the mindset of the student. They have a much more positive attitude. They feel empowered to want to master the topic and master the material. And so again, when you think about when a student comes to an instructor for help, the instructor just isn't going to look at a problem the student's working on and say, that's wrong, go ahead and try again. The instructor is going to say, well, why don't you go ahead and start working through the problem, and I'll give you, step-by-step feedback as you're working through and help you understand why your answer is right or wrong. If you get completely stuck, I can take that step for you, and then you can pick it up from there. And as you're working through, feel free to ask questions along the way, and the instructor will answer them for them. And so that's what we've incorporated into the software. And then, of course, we have the How Am I Doing, which essentially is a scorecard for that student to let them know what they've already mastered, what's in progress, and what they still need to work on so that they can focus their study time on where they need the most help and improvement. And then, of course, while the student is getting assistance behind the scenes, we're able to generate assessment reports for that instructor to use to see how the class is doing, common trends, what concepts students are struggling with as a whole, and then being able to look at individual student performance and see who's mastered the material but who's still struggling so I can get them additional help. Okay, so how does quantum work? And we wanted to set up a very simple process for instructors. Basically, students go to quantumtutors.com where they log in and register, and they associate to their instructor. That's how they appear on the instructor assessment reports. And so basically, the instructor informs students, this week we're working on adjusting entries, so go out and master adjusting entries. So the student logs into the software, and during that week, they are working within the software. They're getting feedback. They're asking questions. They're using the How Am I Doing report, so they know when they've achieved mastery. And so during that week, or at the end of the week, the instructors then go in and they generate the assessment reports to see how their students are doing. And so that's basically a very simple way of being able to do it. And again, the instructor has very useful reports to see how the class is progressing. So we have other demonstrations of the software. You can also request instructor accounts if you'd like to go in and use the software and see exactly how it works. But please contact us anytime at sales@quantumsimulations.com, and we look forward to working